Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything technology from AI to VR and robots to flying cars and everything in between. I'm Kevin Doyle. This week I'm joined by Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and our brand new co-host, Sarah Kimmel. So, quick introduction to Sarah real quick. Sarah has been an IT manager for over 20 years, a mom to 2 teenagers. And Sarah helps families understand technology in their home through a YouTube channel, through Instagram, through a podcast, through website. Sarah's doing it all through her brand Family Tech Zone. So big welcome to Sarah. We're super excited to have you here joining us on the Not Null crew. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm super excited.
It's going to be good stuff. So coming up this week, we're going to talk about some people didn't like that Mr. Beast bought a neighborhood, which seems strange for his employees. Some people push back against that. In our Skynet Watch section, we're going to talk about Amazon's AI-enabled home robot. Then Google is seemingly being responsible with AI-generated images. And then to tip or not to tip, do we tip at a self-checkout? And then finally, we're talking about in our not null recommendation section, we're just going to have a recommendation for or a recommendation against something. It's my favorite bit of the show. I just love when you guys bring stuff that I'm always like, oh, I want to check that out, or I need to avoid that. So let's jump into our first story. So Mr. Beast bought a neighborhood. So Mr. Beast is a guy, North Carolina native, a guy called Jimmy Donaldson. He is from a place called Greenville, North Carolina. And I guess most people listening to this have no idea where Greenville, North Carolina is, because it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's a couple of hours away from us. It's a very small town. It's not a city. And he's been buying up a neighborhood. And I say a neighborhood. He's bought 5 houses over the course of a few years. So these houses are $200,000-$300,000 homes. He spent like $2 million, which, by the way, the guy's worth $54 million. He could afford a much nicer place than he's living in right now. His house he bought for like $300-something thousand in 2018. He's definitely living humbly, I guess. But I don't know, $300,000 out in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, is going to get you a pretty nice place still.
Yeah.
So he's bought 5 homes on this houses on this street of 6 homes. There's only one holdout, by the way. It's a family with kids who haven't moved out yet. My guess is if I were them, hold out. My guess is he's going to offer you some money. Just a guess, but that's my advice. So the issue here was, though, not that he bought these houses, but he got some pushback for this. He basically had to tweet out. His tweet, as I quote, says, "Only I could get cancelled for giving people a place to live with no strings attached." And this is for, I'm guessing because he bought homes for his employees. Some people don't like that for whatever reason. So, Bobby, what do you think? Mr. Beast, good intentions, or is he the bad boss people make him out to be?
Yeah. So, I play games with some of my friends on Discord, and I asked them this question specifically about when the blindness story came out, and he cured blindness for 1,000 people. They're all under 30 that I play with, and they were just highly upset. They think that Mr. Beast is like, he does things and then he's compassionate or empathetic or whatever because it earns him money, and therefore he uses that money to earn more money. And I just said, well, what if he didn't make the videos and he didn't have the money? Then the 1,000 people wouldn't be cured, and they still didn't like it. And I think that what he's done here is, a lot of people are saying he's making a company town, and like it forces employees to work 24/7 because he's bought them a house. But according to him, could be lying, I don't know, but he said that he bought them with no strings attached, and they own the house. That means they could sell the house and they can move away. They can quit their job. It's North Carolina. There's a right to work state. These people can leave anytime they want. But I'd imagine if you're in video creation, working for the #1 YouTube channel on the face of planet Earth, it's probably a pretty good gig. And so I think everyone feels good about it. I think that it's not a company town. It's a cul-de-sac. There's 6 houses in this entire neighborhood. It's not going to raise the prices of real estate in Greenville, and he's, like a lot of people are saying. And I don't think he's doing his employees a disjustice. I'm sure if I bought houses for you, Kevin, you would take me up on it. So.
I was going to ask. If it's where do I sign up? Like,
yeah, so
it's a benefit.
Add me.
So, Paul, what do you think? You like Mr. Beast, or is he mean?
Listen, people are crazy. It's like there are 1,000 people that could not live their lives because they couldn't see, right? And he help them out. So he made a video about sharing. I saw the video. It was great. And I saw that same like pushback, like, oh, he's just doing it for money, and now he bought houses again out of goodness of his heart. And people, I think they're just jealous. They're like, nobody bought me a house. And so they're complaining. But the all honesty, though, it's like, doesn't matter who bought the house. It's like, why do they care? It's not like they work for Mr. Beast. It's not like it's part of their life. It's not like it's influencing their life in any productive way or counterproductive way. So they could continue to do what they do. But instead, they find time to complain about it. It's probably like the same people that want to learn to code and they just keep making excuses and never go about actually doing the work that it takes to get somewhere. So I think he's a good person. And to be honest, if he was a bad person, I mean, he's been in business for a while, we would have heard something about it. You know what I mean? So I think he's doing a good thing and more power to him.
Would you move into a house Mr. Beast bought for you if you worked for him, Sarah? Would that be an option?
Yeah, and like Bobby said, like the headlines are making it sound like he's buying like an entire city, and he like literally bought like a cul-de-sac, So there's so many people I know that I don't know them personally, because if I did, I'd probably like latch onto that. But like who buy houses in the same cul-de-sac, for their family. They just want to be close to their son or daughter or whatever. So I can't really fault somebody for like wanting the people that are close to them to be close to them.
I agree. There's always going to be, and I agree with Paul. It's like, I think these days you can hand somebody $1 million and they'd be like, man, now I got to pay taxes on that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I just gave you $1 million. They'd be like, oh, you hand them a gold bar, and they'd be like, man, that's heavy.
You're right. One of the complaints in the story I read was that he was putting a tax burden on his employees now. I'm like, we all pay taxes on every house that we own. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
He could pay the taxes for him too. Who knows? I mean, like, he bought the house. So
I might owe taxes, but I don't have a mortgage payment. So
it's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
People will complain about anything. They really will.
I bet those same people, if he called them the next day and said, I'm going to buy you 2 houses, they'll shut up really quickly. They'll be like, oh, no, I agree. Mr. Beast is the greatest. I love him so much. It's just,
it's true. It's jealousy.
It's just that pain, like, hey, it's not happening to me. But, life is not fair. And, it is what it is, and just, but yeah, I don't know. People are just wild.
They are. Okay, let's move on to our Skynet Watch section. So this is the part of the week where this is Sarah's first Skynet Watch sections. This is the part of the week where we decide, are we ready to bow to the AI overlords or not? Now, of the 4 that have been on here, I've always been a no. Bobby's always been a no. Paul's a yes.
Yes,
he's
all
full
the
in
time,
on this
all
thing.
the time. Always treat my AI with courtesy and respect. We have a good relationship going.
So, Sarah, we're interested. Where do you stand on, are you ready at this point to give in to the AI?
Well, if it makes my day easier, then I'm all for anything that will like make my day better. So
Okay.
I'm kind of on the Paul side on the AI front. I had to convince my husband to allow me to install like Google Nest devices because he was like super against all of the listening and everything. And I'm like, your phone's doing it anyway, so let me just have an easier life and install these speakers in the house.
I'm with you. My house is all wired up just like that too. I'm with you. I'm with you, definitely. Okay, let's talk about Amazon's home robot then. So this has been out for a minute, right? Amazon has a home robot called Astro, but they've recently announced that they're adding some new features to Astro. So Astro is basically a robot that you can buy on Amazon, but you've got to buy. You can only buy it by invitation, right? You can't actually like go on there and buy it. Like MKBHD has one, right? That's the kind of like customers who have it, right? I can't buy one. I would love to buy one. I would love to play with it, but it's right. But it's $1,600. This thing is so, and that's where it sits right now. But they're saying they want to get to a day where it's going to be around $1,000. So it's basically a home robot. But here's what they're doing: they're adding their own large language model to it. So something ChatGPT-esque, but whatever the Amazon version of that is these days. So they're talking about adding this to under this thing called Project Burnham. So I think Project Burnham is more than just the robot, though. I think this is trying to make all of their things AI. So my guess is this is going to be Alexa 2.0 or Alexa 3.0, wherever we're at with Alexa. My guess is this is its code name. Right. I think it's really Alexa.
Sure.
Oh, and she's hearing me back here now. Look. Speaking
Oh,
of,
she-
speaking of always listening, she just speaks.
I can't say the G word in this house. Like saying the G word will trigger everything.
That's crazy. So here's the pitch for the robot as it stands right now. Right, I'm going to read this from the marketing. It says, keep home closer with Astro, the household robot for home monitoring with the A word, because I'm not going to say it because she's going to yell at me again. When you're away, use the Astro app to see a live view of your home, check in on specific areas, and get activity alerts. When you're home, Astro can follow you from room to room, playing your favorite music, podcasts, or shows, and find you to deliver calls, reminders, alarms, and timers set with Alexa. I just imagine this thing like following me, playing like trombone music or something. You know what I mean? Like something, exactly. Something you really just don't want. It just follows you around playing terrible music. So,
Can it follow me with the like Darth Vader march? Because that would be great.
I'm guessing it can. I'm guessing it can do whatever you want it to. So I kind of do want one, but it's just for the memes, right?
Yeah.
But so the new stuff that they're going to add with Project Burnham. So they're talking about things like finding a stove being left on or a water faucet unattended. I guess the AI can somehow do that better than it can right now. If somebody slips in the kitchen was one of the scenarios they used. It could check, make sure you're okay. It could call 911. It's great use, I think. Could tell you where you left your keys. I don't know how it does that, but apparently it can tell you where you left your keys. Don't we have like tile and things for that? I don't know, but the robot can tell you where you left your keys. It can check whether the kitchen window was left open last night. Was a scenario they had. And a good one, the robot can monitor whether your kids had friends over after school.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting. So, Sarah, are you in on the AI-enhanced robot? You getting one of these?
I would totally want to buy one just because I want to play with all the things. So there's that. I feel like there's a real missed opportunity by not calling it Rosie. I mean, I don't know why it's not called Rosie because it is literally the maid from the Jetsons.
It is.
So,
it is. I wonder where Astro came from. I wonder where that name came from. Is that?
Astro's also in the Jetsons, but it's the dog.
Yep.
Maybe it's meant to be more of a dog than a robot. I don't know.
It is more of a dog.
Yeah. But one of the examples in the article was like it can detect broken glass and say like, hey, don't come over here. So when I saw that, I was like, well, they really need to like combine it with a Roomba. So it's like vacuuming up as it's like following me around. And then like, if it detects the broken glass, just go ahead and clean that up, Rosie. I mean, come on.
Because that's the thing. It's just going to tell you it's there now, right? You can't clean it up right now. There's no scoop on it that can clean the glass up.
That's like your kids. That's what your kids do right now. Hey, Mom, this is broke.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, Mom, there's a spider down here. Can you come get that? Like, that's your kid's job. But I could see some like benefits if it can like go in my pantry and detect if I'm low on certain products and like add those directly to my shopping list, or like tell me, oh, hey, go ahead and change the laundry over if I don't have like a smart, washer and dryer that will like bing me when the cycle's done. So like it could really help out a mom by having those kind of like AI parts to it. But like I said, I don't know if I want something like following me around all the time. I'm a mom. I get enough of that with like my kids and my dog.
Yeah, the following around thing is a bit creepy, isn't it? I don't understand the why. And I hope you can I'm assuming you can turn it off, right?
Sure.
Because who does it know how to follow around, right? Does it follow around anybody that comes in the house, or is it set to a certain person? I don't know if there's a wearable.
Like, oh, Mom's home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird. That part's strange. But I guess because like it says it plays music or podcasts or shows or whatever, because it has a screen, right? Can you watch TV on it?
Yeah.
Will it follow you around and like watch TV on it? Like, I don't know. Is that normal?
No, it's ankle height. Useful. It's not normal. You're looking.
This is
down
the problem. I'd be tripping over the thing too. Yeah. This is the other problem with it. It's very low to the ground, right?
Yeah.
It is like a Roomba. Like it's taller, but it's not much taller, right? It's like it's a low to the floor robot. Like it's not a humanoid looking thing or anything like that. I don't know.
But it can't suck stuff off my floor like a regular Roomba. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Paul, you getting one of these?
No, hell no. I'm not getting one of those. Like, if anything, I'm going to be interested in how to hack it so I could spy on everybody else in my neighborhood. But the point is this. It's like, I like the concept of having your private space. You have like our phones record everything. Our Alexa records everything. If you want to be 100% sure, you got to unplug it. Like one thing, like I read somewhere about just Alexa in general, like if you have an Alexa unit in your house, even if it's not connected to Wi-Fi, it's aware of other Alexas in the area and it's able to communicate with them. And if it's able to do that, it's like, what else can it do? And so this is just taking it to that next level. And soon they'll have Minority Report where you'll just like do something. I'll just assume you're trying to commit a crime. It's like, I might lose my keys. And I'll be like, you left your keys next to the tarp, a shovel and duct tape. And then it's like, wait a second. I want to see. I was just going to build a tent, but it might have read it the wrong way. And sure enough, here I am in trouble. And so to me, like, I feel like it's a cool technology to play with, but the issue I have with it is the fact that it's connected to the cloud, it's collecting data. I don't know how it's using it data. And so you think about AI, and we kind of had this conversation in like the previous stream is if you have enough data about someone, you could train an AI model to behave like that person. So if they have your voice, they have your looks, that's you giving away your data that somebody could use. Let's say it got out by accident or what have you, or who knows how they're going to use it. But it's like they could use it to create AI models based on you, start to like guess how would you behave in certain situations. I think it's just like this. I need to have a divide. This is my private life. This is like my outside life. And to kind of have this blur in my house, like I don't feel comfortable with, right? Like when I do yoga, like, I don't want people to know how I like to practice it, you know? Hot yoga gets hot, you know? So,
well, here's the thing. You hit on something, Paul. This is an Amazon robot. Yeah. Amazon is an online store. They're going to want you to, like, buy stuff. So, to Sarah's point earlier, like, the missing thing from the cupboard or whatever that you don't have anymore, like, you don't even have to order it. Like, it's just the Astro's going to order it, right? It's going to be like, oh, you're low on that. I placed the order. Like, it's actually at the doorstep. I've picked it up. Like, I bought it. Like, it's back in the cupboard already, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I don't know if I like that or hate it.
I just know hackers going to have a field day with this one. You know, once they figure out how to break into those, like, they'll figure out ways. They'll make a robot that makes fun of you because you're sad and lonely and don't have a girlfriend. I'm not saying that's my problem right now, but I get to see myself every day in the mirror. I know how I feel. And so to have a robot every day to tell you, hey, you still single? That's because you put your clothes like on the floor and you don't clean it up because, you know, whatever. It's so like, I got enough of that. And so, you know, it's like, although I do see some good potentials in like programming and doing cool things with those.
It's like, still didn't have a girl over last night.
Yeah.
It's making fun of you. Like,
man in Texas beats up his robot for talking back. I'm not saying it's going to be me, but
that's great. So we're getting these at the office, Bobby. Is this going to be the new greeter for the office? Somebody walks in and they get greeted.
You know, actually, for our office, it would be cool to have a greeter running around and like, hey, welcome to Code Foundry. That would be kind of cool. Just for the novelty aspect of it. But they mentioned that it could be a security bot. They like run around and look around to see. Yeah. So if they add like a battle bot mode, have you ever seen battle bot on security? You get one of those metal spinners on the front. They could actually defeat the criminal. They could, you know.
Interesting.
So I think a little flamethrower would be nice.
Flamethrower. Great. I think that's more than $1,600.
It's a little add-on.
Add-on's going to be a little bit more.
Comes with the vacuum.
The 2K range.
BattleBot and a vacuum.
Right. I'll take the vacuum part.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to our next story then. So Google is seemingly being responsible when it comes to AI-generated images. Yeah. So they had a recent conference. Google I/O conference was recent. It's where they do all their big announcements for the year. It was very, very AI-heavy. Also had some other new hardware stuff in there too. Pixel 7a, Pixel tablet, the $1,800 Pixel Fold, which I know Paul's dying to get his hands on, and tons of new AI tools based on their new Palm 2 large language model. So things like Workspace is going to have AI. They have Music LM, which I got a chance to play with. And people tweeting about it changing the face of music are insane. They've never played with music before in their life. Like, they've just heard this thing like, oh, that's great. It's not great. It's terrible. Project Tailwind, which looks amazing, which is an AI notebook, which looks super cool. I haven't got access to that yet, so I don't think anybody has. I don't know anybody that has. But a quote from their blog, I'm going to read this out, because this was around their AI-generated images, which was one of their announcements, and the one we're going to talk about. So one area that's top of mind for many, including us, is misinformation. Generative AI makes it easier than ever to create new content. A problem we've talked about a lot, right? But it also raises additional questions about the trustworthiness of information online. This is why we're continuing to develop and provide people with the tools to evaluate online information. In the coming months, they're going to add a feature called About This Image in Google Search. About This Image is going to provide helpful context, such as when and where similar images may have first appeared and where else it has been seen online, including fact-checking, news, and social sites. So this is something that's going to come later in the year. So basically, the demo they showed, they had an image of a fake moon landing, and you click the little three dots next to it for more information, and you click the little About This Image, and it said, hey, this image appeared on a Reddit, a Midjourney subreddit first, and clearly is not a real image. It's an AI generated image. So, Paul, what do you think about this? Step in the right direction? Does it go far enough? Is it enough? Does it even matter that they're doing this?
I mean, I think it's important to have tools that will allow us to easily identify, hopefully accurately, if something is AI generated, because I do see it being a big issue in like misinformation or being able to create content that could not be real or what have you. And now we have to like sift through all this different content to figure out what's real or what's not. But at the same time, like Google being responsible to me is like a funny statement, because they used to have a thing that says "Don't be evil," and they removed that clause of May of 2018. And so, like, how much of it do you trust? And so, the guy who works at OpenAI, I keep forgetting his name.
Sam Altman.
Sam Altman. He went around Congress and saying like, "Hey, you should totally regulate us." Blah 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 blah. And what somebody else was pointing out is that for those companies, they could afford lobbyists, and they could pay those lobbyists to push 100%. Politicians in the direction. And so basically what they're doing is they're like creating a situation where only big corporations that have the money to play will be able to dictate what happens, where for everybody else. And so he framed that as like, we need to do for the humankind and blah, blah, blah. But if you look a little bit like beneath it, at the end of the day, it's like, how can this awesome technology benefit us? And so I'd like to think that Google will do things that are appropriate. But from what I've seen from Google, they will only do things that serve their interests and the agenda they're trying to push. But at the same time, it's still better than nothing.
Agreed. Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah, a lot of it, I was thinking about what else AI that I don't question anymore. And one of those things is spell check. I don't question spell check. And I'm wondering at what point we'll get to the point where we're not questioning the results that we're getting from search or anything like that, because we're so used to it being correct that we just don't question it anymore. And I think that's kind of a dangerous place to get to, especially if content creators, like if you're doing a Google search and AI results keep popping up, soon content creators aren't going to be getting that search traffic, and they're not going to create content anymore. So there's nothing feeding this AI engine with correct information. So that's kind of a scary place to get to. Definitely.
Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the what they talked about a little bit too is about the metadata that's in an image itself. It's IPTC. So It's been used in the news for a while, and they've got this new standard. I play with that just in the research of this, just doing a JavaScript. The thing is, you can strip these things out of the image, even though if Adobe's part of the standard, even if they say, well, Photoshop won't do it, there'll be someone that can strip the standard, strip this out, that this was an AI image. So everyone has to be on their best behavior. And the people that want to fake people out are never going to be on their best behavior. And so that's just, I don't know. Now, I do like the thing that they're doing, which is kind of cool. So they have third-party verification, which means that when you search, you can say this image was seen originally here. According to Google.
I like that.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, like, and so now you can say, oh, this image is now here, and then you can see the context in which the image was put in.
Yes.
That is a step in the right direction, where it doesn't rely on the digital artifact to carry the identity of it. That's based on where it's been and how it's traveled. But like if it starts out as synthetic, I don't know how you ever say that it was never synthetic or something like that. Even though Midjourney will add the tags and Shutterstock's going to add the tags. I read this morning that Shutterstock and Midjourney both signed up for IPTC.
Okay.
So all of those guys are starting to latch onto it, but you can strip them out with any image editing tool.
I agree. That's the thing. It's like it would, all of these things would be best to be digitally watermarked at source, right? And that watermark can be something like a metadata or whatever. But you're right, it can always be changed, and that's part of the issue. Unless we have a new standard where that can't be changed, which is, I don't think it's technically possible.
Not right now.
Or if there's some kind of answer, we've talked about this before, Bobby, where you can have some kind of like, maybe this is a good use for blockchain at some point, maybe some kind of digital authentication that you can't change, right? That could be a thing. I think Google's answer to this is a little bit different because they're not saying like, hey, we're going to look at the metadata. They're saying, like you said, we're going to see where else it appeared and where's its first instance, because they're crawling the web, right? So they're going to generally be able to find it. Like it found that image on a Reddit subreddit for Midjourney. It's like, hey, it came from here. So it's part way there. I think it's some other way there.
The other problem with the metadata is it makes the images considerably larger, and so that's another reason why people strip them out. Is because they want their Lighthouse score on their website to go up. So you can't have like a 2 gig image that's all metadata or something like that for you, and then make your page slow. And then imagine if you had every image on a web page and had to go do a blockchain request to go find out where it's from, so it could embed the metadata. It would just make all web pages slow. So I don't think.
Yeah.
It sounds cool until you start trying to do it. Can you imagine your favorite news site checking every single image it had against a blockchain?
Plus, for me, this doesn't solve the problem of. This only solves like half the problem. This solves the problem if, like, hey, I see an image and I want to find out whether it's generated or real, right? Mm-hmm. But my problem that I talked about before was that's not actually the issue. The issue is these images in their periphery, like the Pope image we talked about. You peripherally scroll past it. You don't really stop to think, is it real or not? You've just kind of like side-eyed it and like, oh, now that's true. The Pope wore that jacket, right? You just don't even think twice about it because it's not like you're not actively investigating it. You've just kind of scrolled it and seen it. Same with like stories, written stories content. We're so bad at just reading headlines. That's how we read the news these days. We just skim the headlines. We don't go into the actual story and figure out like what actually really happened. We just skim the headlines. Wow, did you read this thing? Like, no, that was an AI story. But you just peripherally read it and now you're passing it on as fact. It doesn't solve that problem at all. Like this, I don't think we can solve that problem.
Yeah, now there's about this page in Google where you can like look and it'll tell you more information about this page. That's another thing they rolled out. It's out there now. You can go Google right now and look at it. It's kind of cool, but my dad believed that Michael Jordan exited Nike for $260 million. I tried to explain to him he makes about $400 to $500 million a year doing that. Like, why would he do that? He says it's right here on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And there was your mistake.
True.
So
everything's true on the internet.
So here's my $1 billion. I have a lot of $1 million ideas, but this is $1 billion.
This is $1 billion. Always bringing the big guns.
Something I can invest in.
Go for it.
$1 billion idea, and I don't know how you would make this, but whoever comes up with this first will definitely be a billionaire. It's like how you have dark mode and light mode on your browser. Well, someone should have a button that you click and it will filter out all the AI generated content.
It just
that is a true $1 billion idea. Except, but at this point, it's probably just going to be a blank page with nothing on it. So,
I was going to say this is the power button on your PC at this point. You might as well just turn it off.
Just turn it off. But I think like whoever comes up with a way to filter easily, and that's going to be like the new search like engine where it's like, hey, you want AI generated content or real content?
So I like that idea. I like that idea.
Whoever figures out how to do that effectively will definitely be a billionaire. So
time to make a Chrome plugin. Paul.
Exactly.
Use the AI to filter out the AI. There you go.
Well, I think written content, though, is going to be really irrelevant very soon. And it's going to be all video content because of that fact. Where I don't know if an AI wrote this article or not. So I'm just going to watch videos about the topic I'm interested in instead of trying to read something that may or may not be true.
And even then, that's got a shelf life because AI video is coming. Like, there's going to be a point, we've joked about this before, where we're not going to be here. There's going to be we're just going to send our AI versions to do this every week. I'm going to be like, my large language model is going to be trained in what I believe in, and I'm just going to show AI Kevin to the camera, and he's going to show up, and we're going to have this discussion once a week, and we're not even have to be here anymore. He knows what I'm going to say. Just say it.
Right.
It's coming. It's not that far off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I am curious though, how close or believable can like the conversation with AI get? Because currently the content that's AI generated, it literally has no feeling, no soul, because it didn't go through the struggle of like growing up and having a turbulent like childhood, then like, fixing things and just this life experience that gives you that whole like broad kind of understanding of what it is. And that's how you relate to other people. You relate based on what they've been through, and you have this like emotional connection. And I feel a lot of that content is lacking that. And I'm assuming right now, because it's fairly new, people are like, oh, this is kind of believable. But I think, the more of that type of content we see, like our body and our minds will be like, something's not quite right about this. And we'll start to tell like, hey, this is not, is not good for us.
Yeah, I think the uncanny valley is really deep and wide, and even people think it's getting shorter. But like, the more AI content you do in video and stuff like that, I mean, even the Mark Hamill stuff in the latest Star Wars, why it was good, it wasn't. When you go back and look at it, you're like, yeah, it's not quite.
It's still
him.
just something. Just
it's something about it. I mean, I see what you're doing, and but so it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Although to Sarah's point, I wanted to say, making believable blog posts, I tell my AI when I prompt it to leave few mistakes in. Just like, hey, he had a typo in the article. It must be like written by a human.
Must be legit.
Exactly. So there's some prompting to get around that.
That's the
Good
Apple
call.
method for finding out people that release information. They give
Yeah.
individual release notes to people, and they have different spelling, different fonts, different things in them.
That's kind of cool.
So kind of interesting.
Oh, that is interesting.
Could be 3 spaces between a sentence or something like that, and they can spot it immediately.
Oh, that's
Start
crazy.
catching them.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on to our last story here then before we move on to the recommendation section. So, to tip or not to tip, do we need to tip at self-checkout? So, crazy story. I don't even know why we're talking about this. I don't know. It's insane. So, currently, the American culture is very tip heavy. So Americans are now being encouraged to tip at self-checkouts, places like grocery stores, cafes, places where you literally walk up to the thing, you scan your own thing, you pay for it there, and then there's a button that says percentage of tip. And I've actually seen this in person. I noticed it at a place where, so at the airport here, there is a self-service, like little booth, whatever, that sells like water and like little snacks and whatever. And it's fully self-service. It is totally 100% unmanned. It is based on like, I don't know, I guess you just trust. You just show up and you just scan your stuff and you walk out, right? So I went there and there was self-service checkout and it had an option to tip on it. And I remember thinking at the time, like, no. My reaction was, because I'm like, no, what are we talking about here? Tip. I'm like, oh, maybe this is like a legacy thing, like it's just the system and just like it's just baked in anyway. They don't really want to tip, do they? They don't really want me to tip this machine because where does it go? There's this things on, I mean, the person that stocks the shelf, maybe? I have no idea. So what happened through COVID was tipping kind of changed because tipping kind of went up over the last few years. Definitely. The percentages went up. I think through COVID, what happened was staff that were kind of on the front line, there was a bunch of people that said, well, people are out there kind of putting their life on the line. Maybe they deserve an extra tip. And I'm all for that. I think that was, for me, that was great. I definitely extra tip. When we started going back out to places, we tipped heavy. But over the past sort of like maybe 5, maybe even 10 years, tipping has changed a lot. It's gone from kind of 15 and 18% now to 20 and 25%. Even the percentages have gone up. Mm-hmm. So the amounts have gone up. We're now asked to tip self-checkouts. So I'm going to ask you, Bobby, are you generous with your tips when tipping robots and automated checkouts?
So for automated checkout, absolutely, I'll never tip. If I'm going through and I'm taking it to go and I'm just going through the line, like someone's making my bagel or whatever, I'm not tipping. And we have to understand that tipping started because in the U.S., waitresses are paid like, I don't know what it is right now. It's like $2 an hour.
Crap.
They were paid under minimum wage so that they could get tips. And I don't know why that's the case. And now you know that the cooks and everything else in the back are paid not like that. They have to pay at least minimum wage. The second thing that I don't trust in a lot of these things is, where does the tip go? Does it go directly to management? Does it go to the people involved? It just, if I'm in a restaurant setting, it's 20% pretty much, unless they make fun of my dog or something, but like, even then it's probably 20% no matter what. So but to go items, I'm not tipping at McDonald's. I'm not tipping at Starbucks. I don't do that. I know we're supposed to tip our barista, but like, I'm in a drive-through line, I just don't feel like that's necessary. Maybe I'm a Grinch, but if I'm in a steak restaurant, absolutely I'm tipping. Hairdresser, tipping, if someone's cutting my hair.
Okay. Tipping. What's your views, Sarah? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I'm not going to tip if you're just doing your job. Like if I came in to get something to go and you grabbed my food and you handed it to me, like that's what you're getting paid to do. So I'm not going to tip for that. But yeah, absolutely. My hairdresser, sit down restaurants and things like that. However, if they I feel like they go above and beyond, even if it's just somebody at a quick service restaurant, I will tip. Wow, that person was super nice, was super I feel like they went kind of above what their standard of employment is, then I will tip on those occasions. But for the most part, and I'm definitely not going to tip a self-checkout for sure.
Yeah, I think we need to push back on that. I think as a collective society, we need to all agree, let's not start doing that. Paul, what about you?
Yeah.
Tipping the self-checkout?
Of course
big
not.
tipper?
Self-checkout, are you kidding me? Or what? It's where's the money go? I know it goes to fat pockets of people who already have fat pockets. It's well, you know what? It's, I think tipping, in certain, Bobby said, if you're a waitress, their pay is so terrible. It's you tip them money. But for stuff that's sort of like you said, Sarah, part of their job, and there's no reason to tip unless they go beyond the Call of Duty. It's why would you do it? But to be honest, I'm a big tipper when people deserve it. But I have one simple rule: doesn't matter if I'm getting a haircut, if I'm going to a restaurant, if I'm taking an Uber. The more they talk to me, the more money they're gonna make. It's I want to have a conversation. I want to have fun. So I'm driving home from the airport the other day on the Uber, and he's so engaged. He's going so emotional. He's telling me this story. I was man, this is going to be a big tip. I'm going to have to leave this guy, but it's when people care, it's I want to, it's
right.
You know what, here, have something extra. And it makes people feel good, people who go, you said, go out, past what they normally should do. They just make sure that you get the best service possible. They treat you well, respectful, and not just going through the motion of their job. I'm you know what? You deserve a little bit extra.
Yep, definitely. I'm on board with all that, definitely. But I still only want it to be 20%. I don't want it to be 25% either. I just need to keep going. The percentage doesn't need to keep going up, damn it.
It's inflation.
It becomes expensive. It becomes real expensive. Okay, let's move on to our final section then. The null, not null recommendation section. So this is the part of the show where we either recommend or recommend that you avoid something. So I'm going to give the honors to Sarah first as our new co-host here to go first. What do you got for us?
Well, since I'm new, I'm not sure if you guys have covered this because it is a few months old, but I just wrapped up the series Shrinking and I loved it. So it's on Apple TV. It's with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. And it is just one of the best shows. I think it's same people who created Ted Lasso. It was an amazing season. Yeah. So Shrinking is a great show on Apple TV. Definitely check it out.
Okay. I've seen this on there, but not watched it.
Yeah.
I've seen it on there, though. I think I've added it to my list. Yeah, Harrison Ford. Yeah. No, this looks good. I will definitely check that out. I think it's already on my list, though. And I love Ted Lasso, by the way. Ted Lasso is such a good show.
Oh, Ted Lasso's fantastic. I haven't watched today's episode yet, though. I'm so excited. I have to wait till my husband gets
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Paul, what you got?
Oh my gosh, this is something I bought a couple of weeks ago. It's this Bissell cleaner. When you make a mess at home and it's you got to vacuum it first, then you got to wipe things down. So I discovered they have these things that will do both at the same time. So I don't have to pre-vacuum and then mop the thing. It literally does both at the same time. So I have this amazing Bissell cleaner that just saves so much time. And I just I was where have you been all this life? You know what I mean? And so I'm an easy person to please. It's something that makes me have an enjoyable life, and I hate cleaning, and this just makes it so much faster. You
have to hand clean with this thing. It's not a robot of any kind.
Well, if they make a robot, I totally
right?
buy it.
I mean, come on, can it follow me around?
The Bissell robot.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The 100%.
Bissell, get on that.
I'm gonna buy that Amazon robot and duct tape this thing to it, and just be you know what? This was worth the money. This is worth the money. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's amazing. Okay, Bobby, what you got?
All right. So in my not null section, I've been putting together a brand new studio. You'll see it on our YouTube channel. And the one thing that I use, it's a very cheap item. One of the problems you have in a studio is there's tons and tons of cables laying everywhere. You can trip on them. Heaven knows he's been in there. And
I've tripped on them many times.
Yeah. So I found this new cable management tool. I don't know how new it is, but it's new for me. And it's completely made out of Velcro. So if you have a closed loop carpet, like commercial carpet, you can put it down and it goes down like you would a gaff tape or a duct tape when you don't use duct tape on cables, but you might use gaff tape.
Oh, yeah.
But it comes up. And it's great. It's cheap. But it's cable management with a Velcro backing. And if you have low pile carpet in your home, it's awesome. It comes in colors. You can get padded, non-padded. You can cut it to the certain length that you want. Just fantastic. Something for $16 and we'll put a link down here in the show.
It's like an Amazon buy, right?
Yeah, it's just an Amazon thing, but there's lots of brands for it, off brand. There's no real brand for it, but like Velcro cable management. It's really cool.
Okay. Cool. I could use that up here. I actually have carpet up here. I could use that. It's the only room in the house.
I could also use that.
Use it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of messy under the desk. So, okay, mine for this week then.
Same.
So I use Apple AirTags. So I have them in luggage, in my bag, whatever. I bought a 4-pack I think two Christmases ago, so like 18 months ago. So I finally got a notice on my phone that the battery ran out in one of them, right? And you can replace the batteries in them. You just turn the back off, you put a new battery in it, and I'm like, cool. They're those little watch batteries, right? Like the 2032 watch batteries. So I'm like, cool, I have some of these. Great. I have some Duracell ones. So cool. I'll switch it out, put the new battery in it. Doesn't work. And I'm like, weird. Like, what's going on? Like, it won't reconnect again. I'm like, that's strange. So a little Googling, of course, you do a little troubleshooting. I'm like, it's not working, resetting it, whatever isn't working, like turn the phone on and off just to check. Didn't work. A little Googling. Turns out my null for this week are Duracell 2032 batteries. Here's why. They have a coating on them that is bitter. It's so children won't swallow them, right? Which is a great idea. I'm all for the idea. But apparently, the way that the Apple AirTag works, it will not work with Duracell coated batteries.
Wow.
So what kind of battery doesn't work in the place that it's literally supposed to work at? So I had to go buy some Energizer ones. So my not null for this week are Energizer 2032 watch batteries. Because they actually work in Apple AirTags. So note to everybody, if you have to change the batteries, get Energizer ones. Don't get Duracell ones.
That is insane. I wonder how they
Isn't that
tested
nuts?
it. Did they have little kids and they're like, here, try this. TikTok. It's a battery. Don't eat batteries. But to be honest, it's like, why not go that extra step? And as a parent, don't put batteries on the floor for the kids to eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Paul, you've never had kids.
That's too hard.
No,
That's too hard.
Listen, I have kids. And so it's funny you mentioned that because I don't know. I should probably never tell this story. But Marissa,
Tell it now. Go for it.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm glad you're alive. Talk about not null. For those of you parents, going to be parents, you're gonna have an issue when your kids will wake up way before you, and so you have to figure out how can you keep them occupied while you still try to sleep an extra 20 minutes. So we bought this. And thank God my daughter's still alive. But we bought this thing. It's like a swing that you attach to the door and your kid sits in it and it's just bouncing it. And you're like, what could possibly go wrong? That it's it low to the ground. She's not going to fall. It's like, what could possibly go wrong? Like if she just sits there, I'll just sleep for a little bit, and so I wake up because I hear someone struggling. You just get that sense. And I open my eyes and I almost have a heart attack. My daughter is hanging out of that thing by her chin. It's stuck like this. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how did that happen? So, so I could see how parents would leave batteries, they're not paying attention. And so, you got to be careful, and just.
Those things get recalled because of that. My son did the same thing, bounced completely out of that thing, man.
Yeah,
it's just
insane.
they were death traps. I mean, like, I don't know if you ever had one, Sarah, but like they could bounce in them, and I
they just
remember
go into outer space.
they just got it. They just came right out of it. It's like, what? This terrible device. What is this thing?
I will say there's probably some bitter people working in those departments who create those things, and they're just literally trying to find creative ways to send kids to the moon. They're like, all right, if they bounce like 3 times, on the 4th time, they're gonna just go way out.
Ejector seat. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to come crashing down on the child. Like that's where I saw the story going.
I was so afraid of that, to be honest, that I put extra nails. Like I just reinforced it. You know,
that's the one thing you did cover.
Yeah, the one thing I did. Exactly. So like seeing Marissa, she's like 23 now, and then just like, wow, like I'm amazing. I'm like so proud.
Have you told her this story? Does she remember?
She knows.
She remember this at all?
She told me like. You know, various times.
She has like, PTSD from swings. Like she won't go on swings at all.
Dude, but it's funny. Like kids are funny because like sometimes they'll do things they know they shouldn't do. And so Marissa, when she was little, she was like 4 years old or maybe like 3. Like you always hear the noise of toys going everywhere, and that's how I know she's okay. And then one day, like I just like there's no noise. I'm like, what happened? And so I slowly like walk to the living room, like peek around the corner, and I see her having this like inquisitive like look on the face, like I know I did something wrong, but my dad can't catch me this way, so I have to figure out how to like undo this. She had her finger stuck in the VCR. She like put her finger to like get the tape or like whatever she's trying, and she just couldn't get it out. And she's like doesn't want to cry because she knows she'll get in trouble, but at the same time she's like, how do I get this out? And then when she saw me, she's like, God, you got me. Like, I'm just like, you know, and I show her the trick, you know, but yeah, kids are amazing. And it's amazing that we're all here. That's all, what I'm going to say. Cause like, even me having stories like, would this marble fit all the way in my nose? Yes, it will. And how do you get it out? It's terrible.
I do wonder, like, clearly these batteries are bitter coated for a reason, right? Because some kids must have eaten these batteries. They have to have.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. If you'll know when you get them too, by the way, because I think most Duracell batteries have this on now. You'll know when you get them because when you open them, they smell disgusting.
Oh.
They have a horrible smell to them too. You can tell. It's like, and it's on your fingers, and it's like, it's gross. You feel like you're gonna go wash afterwards. So. Okay, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Can I ask you to do a couple of things if you could. If you made it all the way through with us, if you could leave us a rating and a review somewhere, that would be amazing. We've got a bunch of great reviews on Apple, I noticed. I'll bring some next week and we'll read some out, actually, because we had a bunch of good reviews on there. I think we've got 10 or 11 reviews on there now, so that's great. We have a 5 stars on there, so thank you to everybody that's left one. If you haven't, please leave us one. We would appreciate it, and I hope it's a 5 stars if you made it this far. If not, just email us and tell us why it's not. You can email us, notnopodcast@gmail.com. The link is in the description below, and tell us why we're not very good and why we don't deserve 5 stars, and maybe I'll read it next week.
I think you just opened up a whole can of worms. Like, oh, that's going to be a competition. Who could write the craziest?
Who can insult us the worst? Have at it. Yeah. Have at it. Links in the description or the show notes.
Insult us all you want, but just leave 5 stars,
exactly.
and then do the insults.
Yeah,
that's it. You've bought your insult at that point.
Yeah,
that's it. That's a good idea. 5-star insults. 5-star insults. That's what I want to see.
That's it. 5-star insults. We'll catch everybody next week. We'll see you guys later.